Chapter 100. Packing. Mom helped me pack the night before the big trip. We put all the clothes I was taking on my bed, and she folded everything neatly and put it inside the bag while I watched. It was a plain blue rolling duffel, by the way, no logos or artwork. What if I can't sleep at night? I asked. Take a book with you. Then, if you can't sleep, you can pull out your flashlight and read for a bit until you get sleepy, she answered. I nodded. What if I have a nightmare? Your teachers will be there, sweetie, she said, and Jack, and your friends. I can bring Babu, I said. That was my favorite stuffed animal when I was little. A small black bear with a soft black nose. You don't really sleep with him anymore, do you? Said Mom. No, but I keep him in my closet in case I wake up in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep, I said. I could hide him in my bag. No one would know. Then let's do that, Mom nodded, getting Babu from inside my closet. I wish they allowed cell phones, I said. I know, me too, she said. Though I know you're going to have a great time, Audrey. You sure you want me to pack Babu? Yes, but way down where no one can see him, I said. She stuck Babu deep inside the bag, then stuffed the last of my t-shirts on top of him. So many clothes for just 2 days. 3 days and 2 nights, I corrected her. Yep, she nodded, smiling. 3 days and 2 nights. She zipped up the duffel bag and picked it up. Not too heavy, try it. I picked up the bag. Fine, I shrugged. She sat on the bed. Hey, what happened to your Empire Strike Back poster? Oh, I took that down ages ago, I answered. She shook her head. Huh, I didn't notice that before. I'm trying to, change my image a bit, I explained. Okay. She smiled, nodding like she understood. Anyway, honey, you have to promise me you don't. You won't forget to put on the bug spray, okay? On the legs, especially when you're hiking through the woods. It's right here in front of the compartment. Uh huh. And put on your sunscreen, she said. You do not want to get a sunburn. And don't, I repeat, do not forget to take your hearing aids off if you go swimming. Would I get electrocuted? No, but you'll be in real hot water with Daddy because those things cost a fortune. She laughed. I put the rain poncho in the front compartment too. Same thing goes if it rains, Archie, okay? Make sure you cover the hearing aids with the hood. A, sir, I said, saluting. She smiled and pulled me over. I can't believe how much you've grown up this year, Audrey, she said softly, putting her hands on the side of my face. Do I look taller? Definitely, she nodded. I'm still the shortest one in my grade. I'm not really even talking about your height, she said. Suppose I hate it there. You're going to have a great time, Audrey. I nodded. She got up and gave me a quick kiss on the forehead. Okay, so I say we get to bed now. It's only 9 o'clock, Mum. Your bus leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow. You don't want to be late. Come on, chop chop. Your teeth are brushed yet? I nodded and climbed into bed. She started to lie down next to me. You don't need to put me to bed tonight, Mum, I said. I'll read on my own until I get sleepy. Really? She nodded, impressed. She squeezed my hand and gave it a kiss. Okay then, good night, love. Have sweet dreams. You too. She turned on the little reading lights inside the bed. All right, you letters, I said as she was leaving, even though I'll probably be home before you guys even get them. Then we can read them together, she said and threw me a kiss. When she left my room, I took a copy of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe off the night table and started reading until I fell asleep. Though the witch knew the deep magic, there is a magic deeper still which she did not know. Her knowledge goes back only to the dawn of time. But if she could have looked a little further back into the stillness and the darkness before time dawned, she would have read there a different incantation.
Chapter 101. Daybreak. The next day, I woke up really early. It was still dark inside my room, and even darker outside, though I knew it would be morning soon. I turned over on my side, but didn't feel at all sleepy. That's when I saw Daisy sitting near my bed. I mean, I knew it wasn't Daisy, but for a second, I saw a shadow that looked just like her. I didn't think it was a dream then, but now, looking back, I knew it must have been. It didn't make me sad to see her at all. It just filled me up with nice feelings inside. She was gone after a second, and I couldn't see her again in the darkness. The room slowly started lightening. I reached for my hearing aid headband and put it on, and now the world was really awake. I could hear the garbage trucks clunking down the street, and the birds in our backyard. And down the hallway, I heard Mom's alarm beeping. Daisy ghost made me feel stronger, super strong inside, knowing wherever I am, she'd be there with me. I got up out of the bed and went to my desk and wrote a little note to Mom. Then I went into the living room where my pack bag was by the door. I opened it up and fished inside until I found that I was looking for. I took Babu back to my room and I laid him in my bed and tapped the little note to Mom on his chest. And then I covered him with a blanket so Mom could find him later. The note read, "Dear Mom, the note read, "Dear Mom, I wanted Babu, but if you miss me, you can cuddle with him yourself. Exawaki."
Chapter 102, Day 1. The bus ride went really fast. I sat by the window and Jack was next to me in the aisle seat. Summer and Maya was in front of us. Everyone was in a good mood, kind of loud, laughing a lot. I noticed right away that Julian wasn't on our bus, even though Henry and Miles were. I figured he must be on the other bus, but then I overheard Miles tell Amos that Julian ditched the great ship because he thought the whole natural retreat things were quote-unquote dorky. I got totally pumped because dealing with Julian for 3 days in a row and 2 nights was a major reason that I was nervous about this whole trip. So now without him there, I could really just relax and not worry about anything. We got to the natural reserve at around noon. The first thing we did was put our stuff down in the cabins. There were 3 bunk beds to every room, so me and Jack did rock, paper, scissors for the top bunk and I won. Woohoo! And the other guys in the room were Reed and Tristan, Pablo and Nino. After we had lunch in the main cabin, we all went on a 2-hour guided natural hike through the woods. But these were not woods like the kind they have in Central Park. These were real woods. Giant trees that almost totally blocked out the sunlight, tangles of leaf and pollen tree trunks. House and church are really loud bird calls. There was a slight fog too, like a pale blue smoke all around us. So cool. The natural guide pointed everything out to us, the different types of trees we were passing, the insects inside the dark logs on the trail, the size of deers and bears in the woods, what types of birds were whistling and where to look for them. I realized my robot hearing aids were actually made me hear better than most people because I was usually the first person to hear a new bird call. It started to rain as we headed back to camp. I pulled on my rain poncho and pulled the hood up so my hearing aids wouldn't get wet. But my jeans and shoes were soaked by the time we reached our cabins. Everyone got soaked. It was fun though. We had a wet sock fight in the cabin. Since it rained for the rest of the day, we spent most of the afternoon goofing off in the rec room. They had a ping pong table and old-style arcade game like Pac-Man and Missile Command that we played until dinner time. Luckily, by then it had stopped raining, so we got to have a real campfire cookout. The log benches around the campfire were still a little damp, but we threw our jackets over them and hung out by the fire, toasting a s'more and eating the best roasted hot dogs I have ever tasted. Mom was right about the mosquitoes. There were tons of them, but luckily I had freed myself before I left the cabin, and I wasn't eaten alive like some of the other kids were. I love hanging out by the campfire after dark. I love the way bits of fire dust would float up and disappear into the night air, and how the fire lit up people's faces. I love the sound the fire made too, and how the woods were so dark that you couldn't see anything around you, and you look up and see a billion stars in the sky. The sky doesn't look like that in North River Hills. I've seen it look like that in Mountain, though, like someone sprinkled sat on the slimy black table. I was so tired when I got back to the cabin that I didn't need to put out the book to read. I fell asleep almost as fast as my head hit the pillow, and maybe I dreamed about the stars. I don't know.
Chapter 103 The Fairgrounds. The next day was just as great as the first day. We went horseback riding in the morning, and then in the afternoon, we wrapped up some calamus trees with the help of the nature guides. By the time we got back to the cabins for dinner, we were all really tired again. After dinner, they told us we had an hour to rest, and then we were going to take a 15-minute bus ride to the fairgrounds for an outdoor movie night. I hadn't had the chance to write the letter from Mom to Mom and Dad and Via yet, so I wrote one telling them about all the stuff we did that day and the day before. I pictured myself reading to them out loud when I got back, saying there was just no way the letter would get home before I did. When we got to the fairgrounds, the sun was just starting to set. It was about 7:30. The shadows were really long on the grass, and the clouds were pink and orange. It looked like someone had taken sidewalk chalk and smeared the color across the sky with their fingers. It's not that I haven't seen night sunset before in the city, because I have slivers of sunsets between buildings. But I wasn't used to seeing so much sky in every direction. Out here in the fairgrounds, I could understand why ancient people used to think that the world was flat and the sky was a dome that closed in on top of it. That's what it looked like from the fairgrounds in the middle of this huge open field. Because we were the first school to arrive, we got to run around the field all we want until the teacher told us it was time to lay out our sleeping bags on the ground and get good viewing seat. We unzipped our bag and let them down like a picnic blankets on the grass in front of the giant movie screen in the middle of the field. Then we went to the row of food truck parked in the edge of the field to let up on snacks and sodas and stuff like that. There were concession stands there too, like at a farmer's market, selling roasted peanuts and cotton candy. And up a little farther was a short row of carnival-type stalls, the kind where you can win a stuffed animal if you throw a baseball into the basket. Jack and I both tried and failed to win anything, but we heard almost won a yellow hippo and give it to Cinema. That was the big gossip that went around, the jock and the brainiac. From the food trucks, you can see the cornstalk in the back of the movie screen. They covered about a third of the entire field. The rest of the field was completely surrounded by woods. As the sun sank lower the sky, the tall trees at the entrance to the wood looked dark blue. By the time the other school buses pulled into the parking lots, we were back in our spot on the sleeping bag, right smack in front of the screen, the best seats of the whole field. Everyone was passing around snack and having a great time. Me and Jack and Summer and Ray and Maya played Pictionary. We could hear the sounds of other school arriving, A loud laughing and talking of kids coming out the field on both sides of us. But we couldn't really see them, though the sky was still light. The sun had gone down completely, and everything on the ground had turned deep purple. The clouds were shadows now. We had trouble even seeing the Pictionary cats in front of us. Just then, without any announcement, all the lights at the end of the field went on at once. They were like bright big stadium lights. I thought of that scene in Close.
Chapter 104 Be Kind to Nature. An announcement came over the huge speakers next to the stadium lights. Welcome everyone. Welcome to the 23rd Annual Big Movie Night at the Borewood Nature Reserve. Welcome teachers and students from MS342, the William House School. A big cheer went up on the left side of the field. Welcome teachers and students from Glover Academy. Another cheer went up, this time from the right side of the field. And welcome teachers and students from the Beecher Prep School. Our whole group cheered as loudly as we could. We're thrilled to have you as our guest here tonight and thrilled that the weather is cooperating. In fact, can you believe what a beautiful night it is? Again, everyone whooped and hollered. So as we prepare the movie, we do ask that you take a few moments to listen to this important announcement. The Borewood Nature Reserve, as you know, is dedicated to preserving our nature reserves and the environment. We ask that you leave no litter behind. Clean up after yourself. Be kind to nature and it will be kind to you. We ask that you keep that in mind as you walk around the grounds. Do not venture beyond the orange corns at the edge of the fairgrounds. Do not go into the cornfields or the woods. Please keep the free roaming to the minimum. Even if you don't feel like watching the movie, your fellow students may feel otherwise, so please be cautious. No talking, no playing music, no running around. The restrooms are located on the other side of the concession stands. After the movie is over, it will be quite dark, so we ask that all of you stay with your schools as you make your ways back to your buses. Teachers, there's usually at least one lost parties or big movie nights at Borewood. Don't let it happen to you. Tonight's movie presentation will be the sound of music. I immediately started clapping, even though I had sang it a few times before, because it was Veer's favorite movie of all time. But I was surprised that a whole bunch of kids, not from beaches, booed and hissed and laughed. Someone from the right side of the field even threw a soda can at the screen, which seems to surprise Mr. Tushman. I saw him stand up and look in the direction of the can thrower, though I feel he couldn't see anything in the dark. The movie started playing right away. The stadium lights dimmed. Maria the nun was standing at the top of the mountain twirling around and around. It had gotten chilly all of a sudden, so I put on my yellow Montag hoodie and adjusted the volume on my hearing aids, and leaned against my backpack and started watching. The hills are alive.
Chapter 105 The woods are alive. Somewhere around the boring park where the guy named Rolf and the oldest daughter are saying you are 16, going on 17. Jack knocked me. Dude, I have got to pee, he said. We both got up and kind of hopscotch over the kids who were sitting or lying down on the sleeping bags. Summer waved as we passed, and I waved back. There were lots of kids from the other schools walking around by the food trucks, playing the carnival games or just hanging out. Of course, there was a huge line for the toilets. Forget this, I just find a tree, said Jack. That's gross, Jack. Let's just wait, I answered. But he headed off to the row of trees at the edge of the field, which was past the orange cones that we were specifically told not to go past. And of course, I followed him. And of course, We didn't have our flashlights because we forgot to bring them. It was so dark. Now we literally couldn't see 10 steps ahead of us as we walked toward the woods. Luckily, the movie gave off some light, so when we saw a flashlight coming toward us out of the woods, we knew immediately that it was Henry, Miles, and Amos. I guess they hadn't wanted to wait online to use the toilets either. Miles and Henry were still not talking to Jack, but Amos had let go of the world a while ago, and he nodded hello to us as they passed by. "Be careful of the bears," shouted Henry, and he and Miles laughed as they walked away. Amos shook his head at us like, "Don't pay attention to them." Jack and I walked a little farther until we was just inside the woods. Then Jack hunted around for the perfect tree and finally did his business, though it felt like he was taking forever. The woods were loud with strange sounds and chirps and croaks, like a whir of noise coming out of the trees. Then we started hearing loud snaps not far from us, almost like cap gun pops. That definitely wasn't insect noise. And far away, like in another world, we could hear raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. "Ah, that's much better," said Jack, zipping up. "Now I have to pee," I said. We entered on the nearest tree. No way I was going farther in like Jack did. "Did you smell that? Like firecrackers?" he said, coming over to me. "Oh yeah, that's what they say," I answered, zipping up weird.
Chapter 106 Alien. We headed back in the way we came, in the direction of the giant screen. That's when we walked straight into a group of kids we didn't know. They'd just come out of the woods doing stuff I'm sure they didn't want their teachers to know about. I could smell the smoke now, the smell of both firecrackers and cigarettes. They pointed a flashlight at us. There were 6 of them, 4 boys and 2 girls. They looked like they were in the 7th grade. "What school are you from?" one of the boys called out. "Peter Prep," Jack started to answer, when all of a sudden one of the girls started screaming. "Oh my God," she shrieked, holding her hand over her eyes like she was crying. I figured maybe a huge bug had just flown into her face or something. "No way," one of the boys cried out, and he started flicking his hand in the air like he just touched something hot, and then he covered his mouth. "No freaking way, man, no freaking way." All of them started half laughing and half covering their eyes now, pushing each other and cursing loudly. "What's it that?" said the kid who were pointing the flashlight at us, and it was only then that I realized that the flashlight was pointed right at my face, and that what they're talking about, screaming about, was me. Let's go get out of here," Jack said to me quietly, and he pulled me by my sweatshirt sleeve and started walking away from them. Wait, yelled the guy with the flashlight, cutting us off. He pointed the flashlight right in my face again, and now he was only about 5 feet away. Oh man, he said, shaking his head, his mouth wide open. "What's happened to your face?" "Stop it, Eddie," said one of the girls. "I didn't know we were watching Lord of the Rings tonight," he said. "Look, guys, it's Gollum." This made his friend hysterical. Again we tried to walk away from them, and again the kid named Eddie cut us off. He was a head taller than Jack, who was about a head taller than me, so the guy looked huge to me. "No man, it's alien,"
said one of the other kids. No, 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 man, it's an orc, laughed Eddie, pointing the flashlight in my face again. This time he was right in front of us. Leave him alone, okay? Said Jack, pushing his hand holding the flashlight away. Make me, answered Eddie, pointing the flashlight in Jack's face now. What's your problem, dude? Said Jack. Your boyfriend's my problem. Jack, let's just go, I said, pulling him by the arm. Oh man, it talks, screamed Eddie, shining the flashlight in my face again. Then one of the other guys threw firecrackers at our feet. Jack tried to push past Eddie, but Eddie shoved his hands into Jack's shoulder and pushed him hard, which made Jack fall backward. Eddie, screamed one of the girls. Look, I said, stepping in front of Jack and holding my hands up in the air like a traffic cop. We're a lot smaller than you guys. Are you talking to me, Freddy Krueger's? I don't think you want to mess with me, you ugly freak, said Eddie, and this was the point where I knew I should run away as fast as I could. But Jack was still on the ground and I wasn't about to leave him. Yo, dude, said a new voice behind us. What's up, man? Eddie spun around and pointed his flashlight toward the voice. For a second, I couldn't believe who it was. Leave them alone, dude, said Amos, with Mike and Henry right behind him. Said who? Said the one of the guy with Eddie. Just leave them alone, dude, Amos repeated calmly. Are you a freak too? Said Eddie. They're all a bunch of freaks, said one of his friends. Amos didn't answer them but looked at us. Come on, guys, let's go. Mr. Toshman is waiting for us. I knew that was a lie, but I had Jack get up, and we started walking over to Amos. Then out of the blue, the Eddie guys grabbed my hood as I passed by him. Janking is really hard, so I was pulled backward and fell flat on my back. It was a hard fall, and I hurt my elbow pretty bad on a rock. I couldn't really see what happened afterward, except that Amos rammed into the Eddie guy like a monster truck, and they both fell down to the ground next to me. Everything got really crazy after that. Someone pulled me up by my sleeve and yelled, "Run!" and someone else screamed, "Get them!" at the same time, and for a few seconds I actually had two people pulling the sleeve of my sweatshirt in opposite direction. I heard them both cursing until my sweatshirt ripped, and the first guy yanked me by my arm and started pulling me behind him as we ran, which I did as fast as I could. I could hear footsteps just behind us, chasing us, and voices shouting and the girls screaming, but it was so dark I didn't know whose voices they were, only that everything felt like we were underwater. We were running like crazy, and it was pitch black, and whenever I started to slow down, the guy pulling me by my arm would yell, "Don't stop."
Chapter 108 The Emperor's Sword. We backtracked through the grass for a good 10 minutes to see if we could find any hearing aids, but it was way too dark to see anything. We literally had to hold on to each other's shirts and walk in single file so we wouldn't trip over one another. It was like black ink had been poured all around. "This is hopeless," said Henry. "There could be fire anywhere." "Maybe we can come back with a flashlight," answered Amos. "No, it's okay," I said. "Let's just go back. Thanks, though." We walked back toward the cornfields, and then cut through them until the back of the giant screen came into view. Since it was facing away from us, we didn't get any light from the screen at all until we walked around to the edge of the woods again. That's where we finally started seeing a little light. There was no sign of the 7th graders anywhere. Where do you think they went? Said Jack. Back to the food trucks, said Amos. They're probably thinking we are going to report them. Are we? Answered Henry. They looked at me. I shook my head. Okay, said Amos, but little dude, don't walk around here alone, okay? Don't walk around here alone again, okay? If you need to go somewhere, tell us and we will go with you. Okay, I nodded. As we got closer to the screen, I could hear high on the hill was a lonely quarter, and they could smell the cotton candy from one of the concession stands near the food trucks. There were lots of kids marrying around in this area, so I pulled what was left of my hoodie over my head and kept my face down, hands in pockets, as we made our way through the crowd. It had been a long time since I'd been out without my hearing aids, and it felt like I was miles under the earth. It felt like that song Mirna used to sing to me. Crowd control to Major Tom. Your sister dead? There's something wrong. I didn't notice as I walked that Amos had stayed right next to me, and Jack was close on the other side of me, and Miles was in front of us, and Henry was in back of us. They were surrounding me as we walked through the crowds of kids, like I had my own emperor squad.